Hi, everybody. Welcome to Kids at Play and Family Tech. This year, we have the honor to have Baby Tech. Jill Gilbert is the producer of Baby Tech, and she was kind enough to lend us two wonderful panels to kick off our day. So I have the honor to introduce you to New Parents Alert, Desperately Seeking Innovation and Solutions. And I bring to the stage moderator Laurie Jennings, the deputy editor of Good Housekeeping. Hi, Laurie. Welcome back to the stage.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Am I introducing the rest of the people? Oh, okay, amazing. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So great to see you this morning. I am thrilled to be here, thrilled to represent Good Housekeeping and our exciting panel of esteemed guests. First off, Sarah Dorsett, who's the CEO of Nanit, which is an innovative sleep tool for babies. We have Grigg-Spall, who's the Global Communications Director of Daysy, and an interesting journalism background, but now has evolved into consulting and marketing, so lots of great insights there. Darren Goode, who's the President and Corporate and Commercial for Elvie. And last but not least, Jamie Walker Bethmann, who's the Manager of Product Development for 4Moms. So everyone has a booth here. I hope you've been able to see it or you plan to go check it out after today's conversation. And I'm excited to get things started. So like I said, thrilled to be here on behalf of Good Housekeeping. We know at Good Housekeeping that new moms and women trying to conceive or tracking their fertility is such a huge growing industry. And there's a lot of miscommunication, there's a lot of need for innovation, there's a lot of need for new solutions. And we've got some companies here who are doing just that, who are pushing the boundaries, who are challenging the status quo, and we're really excited to hear what they have to say around solutions, innovations, and how they're using consumer insights, how they're beating regulation, or at least working with regulations, how they're providing more education to consumers, and also I think how retail and how their retail models are evolving and changing to help people evolve better. So I think it's worth just a quick setup so that everybody has a deeper sense of what each company is doing. And I'll start with actually Jamie on that end for a little disruption. But if you want to tell us a little bit about 4Moms and what you're doing here and any news that you have at the event right now.
Great. Well, nice to see everyone. 4Moms is here debuting our new Mamaroo sleep bassinet. We are very excited about that. It will launch in February at a $329 price point. It is based off our tried and true Mamaroo. So when we developed the Mamaroo, we developed 5 soothing motions that we have proven to soothe babies much better than traditional seats or swings. And that is the platform that we have put into the Safe for Overnight Sleep bassinet.
Amazing. And Darren, do you want to tell us a little about Elvie and some of the innovative products you have in the marketplace?
Yeah, Elvie is a women's health technology company. We basically build smarter products for women. We have 2 products. One is Elvie Trainer that deals with strengthening a pelvic floor. It's a biofeedback device. Our second product, which we just recently launched, looks like this. This is Elvie Pump. It's the world's first silent wearable in-bra breast pump. At this CES, we're talking about all the insights that we're bringing into the pump, where we've talked to hundreds of women about what they're looking for and what would make their day easier. Once you have a silent wearable breast pump, what else would you want to know? And so we've launched a whole suite, making us the smartest breast pump in the world.
Amazing. Holly?
Yeah, so we're here with the Daysy 2.0, which we launched earlier last year. Daysy is a fertility tracker. We're all about empowering women with self-knowledge to get to know their cycle better and enhance their conception journey.
And Sarah?
I'm here with Nanit. Nanit is a baby brand focused on baby's experience in the crib. We use computer vision technology in a baby monitor, the Nanit, and build products around Nanit and the technology for the crib. And we've really been honing in on sleep tracking and coaching for parents.
Amazing. One of the things that I think unites all of these companies is they're really backed by science and they focus on research and innovation to develop the products that they're doing. But not only that, they look at consumer insights and they take in consumer insights to launch their product. So do you want to speak a little bit about who your consumer is, how that person is a little different perhaps than the parent or the mom of the past?
Yes.
And sure, Sarah, let's go. I feel like I'm echoing a little.
Obviously, our consumer their parents, primarily new parents, because they're in the market for a baby monitor. Oftentimes they're very excited about this new experience, but they're also anxious. I think one of the things that makes parents a bit different today is they have so much access to information, and a lot of times that information needs to sort of be decoded. So I think that that's really our goal. Our mission is to support that journey of parenting and help make that decoding a bit easier. And I think that's the way that we're really trying to tackle that change in parenting.
Anyone else have opinions or perspective on how parenting has changed or how new parents are different than they were?
Yeah, I would say that we're seeing more concern with sort of time and efficiency, looking online and doing their own research, but also wanting solutions that make the process really simple and easy. So once they've made the decision, that it just fits into their life and doesn't take up a lot of effort or time out of their day. I also think it's interesting because I feel like with Daysy we see a lot more male partner involvement in the decision making. There's more interest in sort of taking equal responsibility for research and purchasing there. So
great.
At Elvie, we're seeing a couple trends. One is obviously we're alluding toward it, but parents of the past would leverage their family members for information, whereas now the internet is usually one of the first places that for us, women are going, or parents are going, and they're also, leveraging social media, which is great, but they're also not only searching for information, but they're providing information real time to other folks, which provides different challenges. And the second thing is we're seeing a huge trend. About half of women, or certainly half of parents, are saying that they're buying brands based on their own personal values and what that brand stands for. So for us, priding ourselves in being an authentic brand, that really flows through because they resonate with that. So anyways, that's what we see.
And Jamie, I mean, your role is all about consumer insights, so I feel like this is so your bread and butter and your expertise. What do you see in that area?
Yeah, and it's all the things that have been said. It's about the information to make the purchase decision, but it's also the technology that we're giving them. So the consumer is demanding to be able to do more with the products that we're giving them. So all of the high-tech products that these brands and many more brands are providing, it comes out of a demand for us to solve those pain points. They are busier than ever. They need more convenience. They need these solutions to help them get through their day-to-day. So not only do they need more information to make the decision, but the actual product that we're providing them is actually the inlet and the outlet of the information that they need.
And what do you find in terms of collecting insights and collecting data? I mean, what are the most successful tools, the most successful tactics? How are you, data is coming at us in every possible way at all times. What feels like the most effective tactic to collect that?
Yeah, so we, as everyone knows, we find that what people say they're going to do and what they actually do is very different. So while we do the traditional focus groups, we actually try to really get outside of those more so than ever. We really like to be the fly on the wall in someone's home, because even if it's a tedious task that to them they just see it as necessary, there might be a solution there that we'd be able to provide them or solve them. And then we also try to think of different ways to actually get them to make their decisions. So we've been known to set up complete shopping experiences and provide them monopoly money and actually make them make decisions based on that money instead of just asking them, what would you purchase or how would you do this? But beyond that, obviously reviews and social have been a huge input for a lot of data that we have. So there are great AI tools that allow us to scrape all reviews these days, as well as just sitting down once a month with our team and actually going through each of the reviews on our products and also comp products.
Anyone else want to jump in terms of tactics and tools for gathering consumer insights?
We at Elvie, we look at a couple things. One is we have over 1,000 healthcare professionals that work with us, so we actually talk to them about our products because they obviously are talking to their patients and their consumers, so that's feeding back in one side of the equation. The other is on social media, there's been lots of groups been created around, for example, breastfeeding or around our product. So we're actually overtly engaged in those groups. They know we're there and they're asking us questions, but we're also just hearing about the feedback, good and bad, so that we can deal with it.
Sarah?
Well, I'd say probably like most of us, the digital tools, and that mix and finding that mix and kind of refining that mix is probably where we focus. But we're actually very lucky because the tools that we have, the magic behind Nanit is actually our app experience, and we learn so much from that experience, and we try to build products, all of our products that we launch tie back to that experience. So our customers engage with us through that app, and we learn a lot about what they're doing, how they're engaging, what they like, what they don't like. So I think we just kind of have a leg up because we have that tool.
What do you think makes the app experience that much superior to other products, for example? Because at this point, if you don't have an app, who are you? So what makes your app really, what makes people respond to it in such a positive way?
Well, one is very personalized, but for those who maybe don't know the technology, the reason I joined the company is because not only do we monitor, but we track the data. So we look at the trends in the data, and once we see the trends, we start to tell you about your baby. So what's happening with your baby? Are you putting your baby to bed at a consistent time? Are they sleeping as well as they could? Are you sleeping as well as you could? How often are you going in and checking on them? You know, would you want to try some different things? So we're actually engaging with them at the right moments and saying, hey, here's a new thing you could try to help your baby sleep better. And here's some information about how your baby is doing. So it's not just a moment in time monitoring device that gives you really great quality monitoring. It also really uses the data about your specific baby and parenting experience to give you information that we hope will help.
Great. And Holly, at Daysy, in terms of how you are using consumer insights and data, or what tools and tactics you're using to collect information that feels valuable for your audience, what tactics?
Well, I think one thing that wasn't mentioned yet is surveys and volunteering information. It's really great that a lot of Daysy users are really interested in giving feedback. They're really passionate about the product, about the company. They have a lot of communication with the company through our customer support, cycle analysis, options, and things like that anyway. So when we've asked or incentivized sometimes for survey information via email or through our Facebook group, we've always got back some really interesting insights. We found out through there that women were spending on average 5 months before deciding to purchase Daysy, and that's led to us adding a lot of additional in-depth educational content to our website, working with, as you mentioned, practitioners to put out that educational content so that they're getting the information that they want before they make that purchase.
Amazing. So then in terms of, so it sounds like personalization, which is key for everybody, is very important, but there is an education component and a trusted education component by working with healthcare professionals and other trusted resources that may not be peer-to-peer. Like there is that medical community and the medical grade level, and then also the peer-to-peer. So how do you balance those two things? Because as we all know, in many ways we live in a world of fake news and fake reviews, and you mentioned all of the reviews, but how do you create that trust, that sense of trust in this cluttered environment? Anyone?
I'm just because I'll follow on from my previous thought, with our Facebook group, we have a really robust Facebook group, and we find that it really lends itself well to that because, you know, you're absolutely right. While we've done very well working with Instagram influencers and taking that path, women also really want to hear from other women. They want to hear how long they've used the product, what their experience has been, have they had any issues with the product, what's it like to work with customer support. And they want to see, in fact, they want to see charts. They want to see their data. They want to see how it all pans out. And, you know, one of the great things is that, you know, Daysy is a journey, you know, it has a 3-cycle learning phase. So, you know, there's an element with the, you know, going through the Instagram influencers side that allows people to have a feel of authenticity in the journey and learning along with the person that they, you know, trust and follow. But then with the group, you get that on the other side where it's peer-to-peer, where it's women telling women and truthfully. And we get to see into that, and that gives us a lot of insight as well.
Sounds great. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, we at Elvie, I mean, we know consumers are incredibly smart. I mean, the reality is they know influencers paid, they understand all of that. So we're a big believer in actually putting our product out there and letting people judge it for themselves. I mean, the luxury we have is we've built 2 products that absolutely deliver on their USPs. So our ability to seed product out to folks and have them talk about it, 99.9% of the time is going to be a positive review. So if you're confident in that and can put it out there, people will talk about it. And as a marketer, and I've worked for some big brands like Apple, P&G, L'Oreal, it's rare that you have products like that. About 95% of the time you're marketing around an Achilles heel. So if you can build a product that actually can deliver on that, it makes it a lot easier for you. So I know it's complicated, but it can happen.
I do think it's like for all of you, you're so laser focused on that piece, that one, for lack of a better term, pain point, which is not one of my favorite terms, but it is true. You're so laser focused on these specific challenges that any new mom or anyone trying to get pregnant has dealt with, that there's already that, you're one step ahead of the competition in that sense. But any other comments related to the last question?
Yeah, I think we also try to be very real on social. So we connect in that way, and we have a series of pregnancy and parenting confessions where it's a meme that we put out. It's something like, if you have heartburn during pregnancy, it really means you're going to have a hairy baby. Well, I'm about to have Chewbacca, right? And that really starts a community of comments, and you get the stories to come out, and then the moms can connect on that platform. So not only, like everyone, do we use influencers, but we also try to be very real on our social platforms to draw that community together.
That sounds great. Now, I know some of you had mentioned in our previous conversations that the education piece was so key and in some ways a bit of a hurdle in terms of changing perceptions perhaps around breast pumps or various things like that. So how have you battled those perceptions and misconceptions of the past, or perhaps a product in the past was not necessarily ideal because it was loud or it was bulky or uncomfortable or whatever it happens to be. And what are you doing to sort of push beyond that and change perceptions? I'm looking at Darren.
Oh, sorry. It sounds like you're talking to me. I think
the breast pump expert in the room.
Interesting for a man to be talking about that. I mean, we at Elvie, we pride ourselves in smashing taboos. I mean, we're in a complicated space where our first product deals with pelvic floor and Kegels and all of that, and our second product deals with above the waist and breast pumping. And to deal with that and get communication on that can be complicated, especially on digital and social channels. But I think we go out and we do a lot of things that are not commercial. I mean, for example, we put on the London Fashion Week, we launched Elvie Pump on the catwalk of London Fashion Week with a model who was a parent, who was a new mom, who was pumping on the catwalk. It was the first time it was ever done, and it went over really well. I mean, because a new mom is probably not going to be your typical model, waif thin. So it hit a lot of things in positive ways, and again, it kind of reinforced, as some of the other folks were talking about, the authenticity of the brand. This is just what we're about, and we're okay doing that. Right. And then secondly, doing things like, in order to destigmatize breastfeeding in public, which I think in the US, it was only a year ago, a couple states still had it illegal to breastfeed in public. Amazing. But we put inflatable breasts all across London. They were unbranded, but it created a huge stir as to why they were there. And of course, once people kind of found out on social media why they were there, it just caused a huge dialogue. So those are the kinds of way we kind of engage in complex issues like that.
And in terms of those ideas, is that internal? Are you working with an agency? Where are those sort of creative, disruptive, earned media, whatever you want to call them, opportunities? Where are those types of things coming from ultimately? Are you seeing what other people are doing? What is the genesis of some of those disruptive?
I think the grand majority come from us internally. I mean, we're very mindful of the cultural zeitgeist at the moment. We know our consumers and we talk to them all the time. I think there's sometimes agencies come with a great idea and then we amplify it. But fundamentally, we tend to work with folks that actually get us. So when we do work with agencies, it's quite symbiotic because they actually understand the consumer and they understand the boldness of what we want to do. And it's not for the faint of heart to be willing to just put yourself out there like that and understand. I mean, we did our launch video for Elvie Pump featured cows and a music video. So you could imagine that, the initial, a typical FMCG company might say, whoa, comparing women to cows is probably not the best way forward, but actually the consumer response was phenomenal because women just got it, that, every woman, says they feel like a cow with the old technology, and the idea of new technology not making you feel like you're sitting motionless tied to a wall. So they got it right away, but it was great to see the reaction of some folks saying that, oh, isn't this so horrible? But that was obviously in the minority.
Has anyone else used disruptive or unique tactics like that to engage with audiences or grow your audience or grow your awareness? Not so much. But you are using strategies around real women, peer-to-peer. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit and how you're helping, whether it's build those communities and how important those peer-to-peer communities are for your brands?
I can answer. I think, well, for us, we definitely, we really invite consumers into the brand, I would say. So much like you, we have a Supermom kind of Facebook group, but on the other side, we actually invite our parents into our product development process and our feedback process internally. So we have a whole host of different Nanit parents who talk to us all the time. They engage in research studies. We kick questions out to them and get amazing reactions and responses. And then when we have the opportunity, we do connect them more to each other. I think that the experience that we've seen by doing that definitely lends itself to doing more within the Nanit experience overall, holistically, to create more of a community with Nanit parents, because we've definitely seen how powerful that can be internally.
We also, I think, as well as, we find that using the group is great as almost like, that women are supporting each other, but it also supports the company and it's like a focus group, especially with our relaunch of our app redesign. We really had a lot of back and forth with women about what they wanted to see, and we made those changes over time, and we gave them the timeline. It was a very transparent process. But we also like to get offline and we've had some real success with doing workshops and small group discussions, giving women the opportunity to talk about things that maybe they don't have anybody else to talk about with in their lives, and meeting others that are interested in fertility tracking, who are struggling with menstrual health issues or infertility issues. Obviously it takes, more time and effort to do that, but we find that women really love to get offline and meet other women in that setting and get direct feedback from someone who can tell them how the product works, but also give them more contextualized information on what it means to track your fertility.
Anything?
Yeah, one other thing that 4Moms has actually seen some great feedback loops from is we have a hospital and NICU program. So we support the hospitals and specifically NICUs with Mamaroos. So not only does that give a little bit of ease and comfort to the parents and children that are in the NICU or in the hospital, but then also gives them that first time awareness of a community that is available. And then beyond that, we partner with different health networks. This past year we did one that specifically focused on what happens after the third trimester and really advocating for postpartum depression and being there and having these opportunities to push people to resources as they need them.
It's definitely something that we hear from our readers, this sense of, you're very alone, you're very isolated. So the fact that all of these brands are helping build communities in a social digital network, but also in real life, it just feels very powerful. In terms of taking it to the next step or going beyond that, what kind of plans do you have from here? Or what kind of things what are the other pain points that you've heard from your audiences where you're looking to make headway?
For us, I think women continually push us to find more insights, and our products tend to be a fusion both of hardware and software, and that is the magic sauce. We can build great hardware products, but without the software that actually brings it to life, it's kind of a nice desk accessory, if you will. So our software is starting to really help her make her day more efficient. For example, we just launched a suite of insights where it's one thing to tell a woman how much she's pumped in left and right breast. In a typical session, that's interesting, but we can now tell her over time which breast is producing more milk for her. So if she's got 20 minutes and she's got to do something quick, the left breast is the way to go for her. It can tell her that in real time. And we're also looking at another innovation. She's got a variety of questions on her mind that she'd like to solve, and we're seeing those, and so now we're building those into it. So it's really exciting. at least in our case, women, definitely new moms, are extremely tired, extremely time poor, and they want things that if you're going to give them insights, don't just give them data. So we don't want to just give them a suite of numbers, but what are the questions she has and how do they answer it quite quickly?
It's back to sort of applying some strategy to what you're collecting and knowing where to focus. But anyone else want to speak a little bit about what's next or what's coming or where you want to go?
Yeah, we're always pushing forward. With the Mamaroo, it's been out for 10 years. It's on its 4th generation. There's much more to come there. Obviously, technology has continued to improve, so you'll see continued improvement there. But I think there's also this drive of not only including more technology, making things smaller, making things lighter. So at least in our world, where we're a gear-centered world, there's huge opportunities in those categories as many others to continue to improve the products.
I mean, just really quickly in our space, I mean, we've got some significant advancements coming later in the year that obviously we're not going to talk about, but in the motherhood space that are just super exciting. I mean, women have been talking about things that we weren't actually even aware of, and so by bringing those things out, I think it'll be another emotional moment for women where they finally get what they want. So we're excited about that.
Time, I would say. Go ahead, Sarah.
So I think I introduced the brand as a brand focused around the crib, and so what's next for us is we really want to own that crib. So a safe crib doesn't have much in it, and we can do a pretty great job with some of the launches we already have and more that we have coming to really make sure that that experience is optimized and comfortable and wonderful. So we're not just that baby monitor, it's really the crib. I'm a mom.
Exciting.
And I'm a mom of 3, and for us, we think about the crib as this pretty magical space. If you think about babies spend at least 12 hours, we hope, in the crib in the first year of their life, and all of the things that they do, and because we use computer vision technology, we're there to watch that. And you're not, as a parent. When the baby's in the crib, you're not supposed to be there, right? They're supposed to be sleeping, but they're doing a lot of really fun things in that crib, and we want them to be happy and comfortable, and we want that half-day experience to be wonderful. And we feel like we have a unique opportunity to share that experience and capture it for our parents. So that's where we're headed.
It's exciting. Anything, Holly, on your end?
Well, yeah, I think the interesting aspect for Daysy is Daysy was launched just 5 years ago in the US, but the parent company, Valley Electronics, has been making fertility trackers for over 3 decades.
Wow.
So we're not a startup. So product development has been going on all along that time. 4 or 5 different products preceded the Daysy 2.0, and there are a family of products. So really, going forward, we'll be integrating that family and providing women with access to information on what each product could give to them and might benefit them in different ways, and just sort of bringing that together now that we're 5 years into having Daysy.
Now, in terms of switching gears a little, in terms of how you're getting your products into the hands of consumers, I mean, there's been so much disruption in the retail space. What have you learned over time to maximize and get the most product into the most people's hands? Are there strategies that are really working, things that you've just left by the wayside? I'm looking at Sarah first.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you two parts to that. One is that definitely digital and social, that's where we find that sort of trust and communication and recommendation happens. I think now more than ever, because there are so many products in the space, we need to be that one that's recommended by someone you trust, so family and friends. So I think that part is connecting with that and making sure that that's happening has been a focus of ours. But something that's really interesting, I mean, you know where I come from a retail perspective, the baby registry is still going strong.
Is it?
It is.
That's
and
great.
Baby registries were a huge focus for us. We just saw last year that space is pretty incredible. It's still really important for parents. It acts not only as a gifting destination, but it's your checklist, right? It's all those things that you've researched and need to kind of store and maybe not think about because you have them all in one location. So obviously it's more digital now and it's not that sort of in-store registry experience, but the registry itself is really, really powerful. So we're still there. We're still in baby registries.
That's great. Anyone else from a retail perspective? I mean, what's really working?
I mean, at Elvie, we started out as a direct-to-consumer business, so we launched Elvie Trainer direct-to-consumer, and that was super, super successful. I mean, we found over time that we then eventually launched into retail, physical retail, and obviously their .coms as well, and primarily the benefit with that is one is credibility to some degree, that we, if Target carries it, then it must be okay, or it must be a brand that's actually got a stamp of approval. It also increased our awareness dramatically as well, because we just became more ubiquitous and more points of contact. So I think there's benefits all around. We get a benefit from, call it the retail channels as well as our direct channels. So we look at it both.
As long as you're in every place, you're covered.
Exactly.
And while digital is huge and it's booming, and registry is such an advantageous point for our consumer lines, we still are investing a lot in retail stores, because people are still going to the Bye Bye Babies and the Targets, and they're still doing their research there. They're making an event out of it to be able to go and experience it firsthand before putting it on their registry. So 4Moms have had a lot of success with actually employing reps within those stores to not only train the employees, but then actually to spend some time in those stores and to interact with consumers. So even though we are shifting to this digital age, we still find a huge advantage to being a presence in brick and mortar.
And I think when you're launching, there's a variety of companies up here that are launching products that have never existed before.
Right.
And it's like if you're trying to explain what a flying pig is, and nobody's ever seen such a thing, then actually having it where they can see, touch, and feel it does add some value, because just looking at it online is interesting, but at some point they may actually want to look at it and say, how is it possible that this actually does what it says it does? I need to see it. So retail does add that value.
And for you, Holly?
Yeah, I think going back to kind of your previous question as well, it's about education, and we do a lot of actively developing our own demographic, because the idea of that there's a fertility cycle, a fertile window, is often news to women, even in their late 20s, early 30s. So rather than competing against a previous product, we actually come up against the fact that women may have a free period tracker app on their phone that's telling them incorrect information about their ovulation, about their fertile window. Of course, it's free, and they don't have the context of education to know that information isn't correct. And they may be using it and being very anxious and frustrated around what outcomes they get from that. And so for us, it's often just putting out more educational content. We have recently put out the Daysy Guide to Your Hormones, which really gives insight into how basal body temperature is a fertility marker, how it relates to conception, how it relates to pregnancy, the benefits of fertility tracking for conception. It's about getting that information out there, and often companies like Daysy are the first point of access that women have to that information. So that's a big responsibility. Absolutely.
We're getting close to the end of the session. I feel like we've got a few, and the personalization, the education, the content, those are all key. The experiential piece, the trial and error. Are there any other parting words of wisdom? Perhaps there's people in the audience who are starting their own company or trying to introduce a company. Are there any other parting words of wisdom that you feel we either didn't cover today, or would you really just need to get off your chest? Holly, go ahead, maybe.
Oh, I have to go first.
On the spot. Well, anyone really, if you need to. Anyone who's ready.
I think I would say, don't dismiss the kind of things that are not such the splashy marketing route, but the kind of the word of mouth, sort of grassroots connection with women, person to person, can really have such an impact. And if you're really dedicated to it and you're transparent and you can develop that trust, then it can be as effective. I feel like don't feel intimidated if you don't have the possibility of doing, a very big splashy kind of launch or an attention-grabbing moment for your marketing.
Yeah, I guess I would say that because this panel is really about parents and parenting and different options that lead to it. What I found is that parents really don't think about tech.
That's true. We've
And
also
I
found
think that we should, so I think the thing that's really important to remember that if you're building something that is technical, is demystifying the tech and embracing the experience of that. And I know I talked a little bit about that already, but we found that we've had incredible success when we shifted away from really trying to help people understand what our product does and how it does it, to the benefits and the value and why the experience is going to be so incredible for you. So really kind of demystifying and returning to that foundation of this amazing moment in your life.
Amazing.
I would just say that this is a great industry. The companies and the people that make up this industry are very forthcoming and willing to talk to people, and you're at the platform to do it. So I would go over and I would explore and I would stop by the 4Moms booth or any of these booths and have a conversation with us. We'd be more than happy to sit down and talk.
That's amazing.
I would say, at least from our point of view, never discount the whole authentic storytelling element of it. I mean, it wasn't just like we created fantastic tech products. I mean, our founder, Tanya Bowler, I mean, she's a healthcare expert and she's a mom. And when she became a mom, that's when all this started, the idea for a pelvic floor trainer that was basically taking a medical device and putting it in your home, a silent wearable breast pump. And having her go out and talk about that is the most authentic thing because it's from the heart. And that's that way that permeates the company. And I would imagine all the companies up here saying that same thing. We believe in what we do because it's not only commercially successful, but it's just a do-good thing.
It's life-changing, absolutely. It's funny because what you said about people don't, especially women, we hear the same thing, which is smart home, smart tech, whatever it is, people will turn off, their eyes will glaze over, but as soon as we focus on benefits, as soon as we focus on time saving, money saving, whatever it happens to be, there's this renewed excitement and energy. Oh gosh, and now we're at 0. So we're in trouble. But I want to thank you all. That was really, really informative and super great. And I encourage everyone to check out all of their panels or all of their booths here at the show. Thanks so much.